Hello everyone. Today I want to give you a 10 short talk. Number 1. First, the speaker announced careless man had started 520 a forest fire not far from the town of White River, New York. Then the fire had been 75% under control on Wednesday, according to a firefighter, and it has cost close to $1 million so far to fight the fire. Next, he commented, a spokesperson for the fire department has said the cause was smoker who has thrown his cigarette out his car window. So the fire had started in the state park and destroyed the campground and recreational area there. After that, he said, part of visitors, including a group of Boy Scouts, took a shelter in tow because the fire had a threatened house just outside of White River. 500 people had to flee their homes at the height of the fire Monday night. Finally, firefighters had been able to save that area, and authorities had said the fire should be completely put out by today. Number 2. First, the speaker announced they was changing their names, but they was keeping their promise. Then she commented, for decades, village hospitals had been providing low income and indigent people with the highest quality medical care, and it was time to create a separate identity so people would recognize what they did. Next, she spoke there was a that was a white next she spoke why there was changing the name of their city to the Ambassador Sweater Hospital. After that, she said, that's inspired by the work of the Great Exchange. They had renewed their commitment to excellence and quality, offering move a service and setting new standards for medical treatment. Finally, she said the Ambas Sweater Hospital was another name for positive results. Number 3. First, the speaker commented, Fuji House was a Japanese restaurant full of a wonderful aromas and taste, and is specialized in seafood, and their sushi was the best the people could find anywhere. Then he reminded it also offered delicious temper, several tasty chicken dishes, and wonderful sweet and salt pork. Next, the restaurant served a variety of vegetarian dishes, and all the dishes were moderately priced. After that, he announced Fuji House was open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. It opened early for breakfast on Saturday and Sunday only. Finally, he thought a delicious and reasonably priced business lunch special was available Monday through Friday. So he suggested visiting Fuji House if someone liked traditional Japanese cooking with a Mondo flair. Number 4. First, the speaker said she would like to thank our author for coming to that meeting, and she thought it was time for them to elect the Employee of the Year. Then she said her assistant was passing out pilot slips. Next, she suggested using one to write down the name of their choice for Employee of the Year, and considering someone who they left had given 110% of him or herself during that past year. After that, she thought their choice should be someone who was not only a very hard worker, but was also someone who was kind, friendly, and helpful. Finally, she reminded in case they had forgotten, let her remind that the winner would receive $1,000 cash prize and 1 week vacation for two in the Bahamas, so she was ready to take nomination from the floor then. Number 5. First, the speaker says hello. He introduced his name and he would be their guide that morning as they tour the run of Machu Picchu. Then he hoped all of them was wearing comfortable shoes because they would be climbing off and down a great deal and carving a lot of road during a theater. Next, he supposed they would start their walk at the main gate of the city, where they would see the Temple of the Sun, and finish at the main place which they could see in the distance behind him. After that, he asked that they all stay close together as they had proceeded, and didn't worry. He would give them plenty of time to ask questions and take a picture at their different stops. Finally, he reminded if there was no question they ran, began and following him. Number 6. First, the speaker said hello to the receiver. She introduced her name and her phone number. Then she said she was returning a call from Mr. Matt Anderson or Anderson because she couldn't get his name when he had left his message. Next, she commented the man wanted to verify her home address, so she gave them her address, which was 3647 Delaware Lane. After that, she suggested putting them because there was also Delaware Road and Delaware Curve. Finally, she suggested calling her after 3 that afternoon if Mr. Anderson and or Anderson had any further questions. Number 7. First, the speaker introduced the local news and residents of Marlborough County was still without power. Next, she said the heavy rains and strong wind that swept through the country the night before. The total power lines and left 150,000 residents without electricity. After that, she commented crews have been working all night to restore power, but the winds, with the strong, was making their work difficult. Finally, the power company expected that the western part of the country would be able to turn on their light that evening, but the rest of the country would be lucky to have electricity by the following night. Number 8. First, the speaker announced they was pleased to announce that the Lifeforce Fitness Center would open the first of the month November 1. Next, he said their year-long renovation was complete and to celebrate, they was offering free orientation session for the students of their community, and he suggested coming and seeing their for 40,000 square foot complex. After that, he suggested taking a swim in their Olympic-sized pool and playing row of golf on their championship golf course and climbing on their city food rock wall. Finally, he said there was offering 2-for-1 membership and suggested bringing friends to their orientation session if one of their sign-ups. The other would receive a club membership free. Number 9. First, the speaker got attention all passengers for Springdale. Next, he announced the 10:30 train to Springdale would begin boarding in 5 minutes and reservations were everywhere for this train. And he said all passengers for Springdale went to check 15 then. After that, he told a passenger with small children would be allowed to board first if they hadn't checked their luggage and suggested doing so immediately. Finally, he commented each passenger was allowed to check only one small bag on the train and all other items, including a large suitcase, boxes, bags, musical instruments, and bags must be checked in at the baggage office. Number 10. First, the speaker says hello and he introduced welcome to the first lecture in their series, The Wonder of the Nature. Then he said in their 7 lecture series, they would cover a variety of interesting topics such as insect life, studied plants and desert ecology, life in the ocean, and more, and they had a number of interesting speakers lined up. Next, he announced a Patrice Moore who would tell them about studying butterflies of Central America, and before her talk, Mr. Moore would show them a video taken on her recent trip to Central America. After that, he commented on the wonderful butterfly photos and they have seen on display when they had come in would be on sale at the end of the talk. Finally, he suggested going to the butterfly fund. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.